Chapter 12:06 Peregrine Falcon. Qinling is tall and slender, with a height of 1.75 meters and a very well-proportioned figure. Both her arms and thighs are well-trained. Her tight calves are like cheetahs, and she can burst out with enough powerful strength at any time. Most of the Beastman-type ability users have the ability to strengthen their body functions, making their bodies more inclined to the direction of beasts. So when Liang Yu faced her, her heart had already raised her vigilance to the maximum extent. She saw Qinling's ability. Peregrine Falcon, it is one of the fastest birds, and the speed of hunting can only be captured by high-power cameras. The target hunted by this creature may not know that it has been hunted even after death. This is an extremely dangerous creature, and the alien with the ability of the Peregrine Falcon is definitely the most terrifying hunter. Liang Yu's inner warnings sounded wildly. She saw Qinling's move and knew how terrifying the strength of this, one of the 5 extreme war gods in the Northwest region was. The ability index is 9,700 points, which is higher than hers. Moreover, this Beastman ability user is extremely good at close combat and hunting, and is close to Liang Yu in ability attributes. Then the ability index lead of 200 points will definitely be extremely deadly. Why are you here? Is it a coincidence, or for me? Liang Yu pointed the blade in her hand at Qinling, and her first feeling would not be wrong. Moreover, at this time, Qinling's murderous intent was almost not deliberately concealed. At this time, they were far away from the main force, and even if something happened here, the outside world would have no way of knowing. Qinling and Liang Yu kept a distance of several dozen meters and slowly circled. Liang Yu, one of the women around Zhang Yi. You seem to be the only woman he brought this time. Qinling did not answer Liang Yu's question, but slowly spoke Liang Yu's information. Liang Yu frowned. She tried to contact the outside world, but was told by the intelligence system that all the surrounding communication signals had been blocked and could not be transmitted. Qinling's mouth curled up with a playful smile. Don't bother, I used the jamming equipment when I came here. Now there is no way to communicate with the outside world in any form. Liang Yu's personality has changed significantly after getting along with Zhang Yi for more than a year. She has a strong sense of danger and will no longer easily have illusions about others. You want to kill me? Liang Yu asked in a deep voice, because Zhang Yi beat Li Changong's. Liang Yu immediately thought of the problem. They had been in contact with the Northwest region for a short time, and the only grudge was the gambling fight between Zhang Yi and Li Changgong. In the end, Zhang Yi won. Qinling's eyes suddenly became sharp. She glared at Liang Yu and scolded, "Shut up. Zhang was just lucky enough to beat our commander once. Humph, in terms of origin and ability, he can't compare with our commander. Our commander is a natural king. He will definitely do a lot in this chaotic world." Liang Yu stared at her. Every inch of his muscle was tense, not daring to be careless. So, he lost, so he holds a grudge and intends to take revenge here, right? Qinling said sarcastically. Do you want to hear what you were saying? Revenge? No. The commander has the whole world in his eyes. Even if he loses to Zhang once, it does not affect his greatness at all. Liang Yu asked in a deep voice, "Then why are you here?" Qinling suddenly raised her left hand and gently rubbed the wrist of her right hand. With the commander's talent and virtue, he can tolerate the offense of lowly people to him. But I can't. I am the commander's right-hand man, so I must help him clean up the filth. I can't kill Zhang, but if I kill his woman here, she said here, the smile on the corner of her mouth was as cold as a monster, and the look she gave Liang Yu was like a venomous snake. Then his expression will be very exciting at that time. Liang Yu took a slow, deep breath, and when she saw Qinling's crazy expression, she knew that there was no point in continuing the conversation. Qinling was determined to come and kill her today. This place is too far away from the alien army, and the communication is completely blocked. Even if someone dies here, it can be blamed on the centipede, and no one has time to find out the truth. Therefore, at most only one person can survive here today. Liang Yu knew that she was facing a strong enemy, but there was no fear on her face or in her heart. Like countless times before, She gently turned her wrist, and the blue air lingered around her body and the blade. The blade slowly cut through the air, making bursts of dragon roars. And Qinling no longer hesitated. The murderous intent in her eyes completely burst out, and she killed Liang Yu. Master of martial arts? In the face of absolute strength, it's just a pile of minced meat. Her body suddenly changed into a silver-gray peregrine falcon, and with a flutter of her wings, her body actually disappeared in front of Liang Yu. Liang Yu's eyes never left for a moment Qinling, but her eyes could not catch the shadow of the peregrine falcon. Qinling disappeared from dozens of meters away, and almost at the same time, she felt a chill on her neck like a long knife passing through her neck. Clang! Something hit Longming violently, and the powerful force made Liang Yu's upper body unstable immediately. She quickly moved 7 or 8 steps to the side to relieve the terrifying force. Liang Yu quickly stabilized her body. With this blow, she could barely see Qingling's incarnation of the peregrine falcon. Her beak was dark silver, like a sharp hook. Liang Yu had no doubt that if she hadn't blocked it with her instinct trained for many years, her head would have been taken off. Just one blow made Liang Yu realize the huge gap between the two. Whether it was speed or strength, Qinling surpassed her. Especially speed. When Qinling was in the state of peregrine falcon, her speed had reached a point where she could hardly catch it. The more similar the abilities of the aliens, the greater the power suppression will be caused by a slight difference in the ability index. Especially for melee-type aliens, the more terrifying it is. If the speed is half a point slower, it will not be able to block the opponent's bird beak. If the back of the knife is half an inch slower, Liang Yu's neck will be cut off directly. The danger here is between millimeters. Qingling's attack failed, but she saw Liang Yu's shaking body. Her laughter came from the bird's beak. Master of martial arts is just a joke. From the beginning, my eyes have been on you. I know exactly how much you are, Qinling said coldly, so today, you must die. Chapter 1207 Raptor. That day, after Li Chonggong lost to Zhang Yi, he suffered the greatest humiliation in his life. Although in front of his subordinates, he tried his best to maintain his pride and not let his crown fall. But this loneliness could not escape the eyes of Qinling, who had followed him for many years. So the seeds of hatred have long been planted, and there are not so many plots in this world where people meet and laugh to forget their grudges. People are very petty animals. The so-called forgetting hatred is just because of the weakness of strength and have to tolerate it. It is precisely because of this that people who have been at the bottom, after gaining some power, will do everything they can to use the power in their hands to the greatest extent and embarrass others. Qingling's killing of Liang Yu cannot be said to have been planned for a long time, but she did see Zhang Yi leave, and the massive counterattack of the centipede made everyone exhausted. The hatred in her heart caused her to have this idea. As a peregrine falcon, she has excellent vision and strong flying ability, which allows her to observe Liang Yu carefully in this battle. Liang Yu did not guard her back. She is not as mature as Zhang Yi, so she has almost no reservations during the battle. Therefore, her strength, speed, and even attacking moves were observed clearly by Qinling. After measuring the difference in strength between the two, Qinling concluded that she could kill Liang Yu. The peregrine falcon flapped its wings in midair, and after looking at Liang Yu, who was struggling to stabilize his body, there was a playful smile on the bird's face. That's all. As soon as the voice fell, the figure disappeared from the spot, and in an instant it came to Liang Yu's approach. Liang Yu had to hold the knife with both hands and put all her strength on resisting Qingling's attack. Qingling's speed was too fast, and Liang Yu could not resist at all. She could only block it through her martial arts and instincts. Even when she shot, she herself didn't know if she could block Qingling's attack, and she blocked it completely subconsciously with a knife. In the underground cave, the clanging sound was like iron forging. Liang Yu's legs were firmly planted on the ground, but her upper body was bearing the fierce impact like a lonely boat in the wind and rain. Bang! A violent impact made Liang Yu's legs unable to support her body standing on the ground. Her legs were like iron plows, leaving 2 deep long marks on the ground. No! I must find a way to fight back. If this goes on, I will be killed sooner or later. I have to find the loophole in her attack, and then seize the initiative. Liang Yu gritted her teeth. She felt another major crisis in her life. The sickle of the god of death was hanging high behind her head and could be cut down at any time. This time, there was no Zhang Yi to help her, and she could only rely on herself. However, after years of martial arts training, her heart has long been tenacious. How could she be weak? No matter how difficult the situation is, she will try her best to find a way to break it. She's better than me in speed and strength. Even the direction of her attack is irregular, and it's impossible to predict her actions. Liang Yu held the hilt tightly, and her attack never stopped, just like a violent storm. While attacking, Qinling tried to destroy her willpower with her voice, which seemed to be a trick to abuse her prey. You are weak in attack.
Bang.
The bird's beak hit the blade, and then hit Liang Yu's chest hard, causing Liang Yu's blood to boil, and her body almost fell backwards. Your defense is not good. Another attack from behind. Liang Yu had no time to turn around, and his left arm swept back. A circle of wrist guards popped out of the combat uniform, blocking the peregrine falcon's claws. Crack. The metal wrist guard actually sank, and the joints broke apart. Loose footsteps. Once again from the side. Liang Yu was hit hard as if by a heavy hammer, and the back of the knife could not hide, and her arm was finally rubbed by the peregrine falcon's beak. Just this one time, it was so painful that the 2 layers of combat uniforms were torn apart, and a large piece of flesh was torn off. Slow reaction. Liang Yu's body could no longer withstand this continuous high-speed attack, and was thrown out fiercely. Qinling's pupils flashed with contempt and bloodthirstiness. Not at all decent. With your level, you dare to call yourself a martial arts master. You simply bring shame to the martial arts world. Zhang is surrounded by people like you. He will be finished sooner or later. The moment Liang Yu's body was thrown away, Qinling flew far away, and after flying at high speed, she wanted to turn around and give Liang Yu the last blow. But at this moment, Liang Yu, who flew out like a kite, suddenly shot a hook from her wrist and hooked onto the rock wall not far away. Using the rock wall to remove Qinling's strength, Liang Yu quickly stabilized her body and landed on the ground with her left hand like a cheetah. At this time, she was really facing a desperate situation. At the critical moment of life and death, the problem that had always troubled her also got a solution that could be tried. Why does martial arts exist? This is the question for This is a question that all martial artists will think about. If a person can be invincible as long as he has enough strength and speed, then what is the meaning of the existence of skills? Liang Yu is a woman. Since she was a child, her father and many masters have told her that if she wants to achieve something in martial arts, she must work harder than men. Because of their physiological disadvantages, they can hardly fight with men in the same state. So, how to eliminate this gap? One of her hidden weapon masters once gave her an answer. Play to your strengths and avoid your weaknesses. Since you are not as strong as the opponent, don't fight in close combat. Therefore, martial artists in the South often carry weapons with them. If you don't attack, you will hurt others.
If
you are not as fast as the opponent, use stillness to control movement. Seize the opportunity to kill with one blow. But if this blow misses, your life may be gone, so you can't attack easily. Liang Yu has always been very courageous. She knows that it will not do her any good to continue to delay. A quick battle must be decided. But why should Qinling obey her orders? We must make her show a weakness. So, I have to show a weakness first. Liang Yu looked at Qinling, who was coming back from a distance, quickly inserted the long sword into the scabbard, and made a gesture of drawing the sword. Qinling's action slowly stopped in midair. She narrowed her eyes, and a cold light flashed. Are you going to fight back? There was a hint of a faint sneer on the corner of her mouth. If both of them gave up defense and attacked, the competition would be about who was faster. Liang Yu's speed was not as fast as hers, and if she defended, there was still a chance of survival. But if she counterattacked, it could be said that she would die. Looking for death. Chapter 12, 008. In a moment.
Aye.
A well-known move in neon swordsmanship. Although there were similar moves in ancient Huashu country, it was not popular. In duels, warriors usually do not wear armor, so the samurai sword does not need the function of breaking armor, and the attack is to see who is faster. Liangyu is proficient in martial arts of many countries, taking the essence and discarding the dross. Ai can indeed make super high-speed slashes in an instant. This is her best choice to counterattack Qinling at present. After the battle with Tsukamoto Nobunaga of the Nitin Ichiri Menkyo Kaiden of the Eclipse Organization, she gained a lot. She combined Tsukamoto Nobunaga's moves with her own perception and developed a new move, Fengwei. With her as the center, the area within a radius of 10 meters is covered by her blade. In an instant, her blade can reach any point. After combining the ability of Qizong, even if she closes her eyes and does not see anything, she can sense the movements of everything within the 10-meter Fengwei. Now, she is going to gamble. Is Qinling's Peregrine Falcon ability faster, or is her knife faster? And this is the only chance to draw the knife. If she loses, she will die. Qinling felt this resolute thought, and her eyes became more fierce, but she was not afraid. Even ants try to survive, and no one will die willingly. But Qinling is absolutely confident in her own strength. Even if the knife is pulled out of the scabbard, it will definitely not catch up with her speed. At this time, Liangyu seemed to notice Qinling's hesitation, raised her head, and smiled contemptuously at her. Then she raised her hand and deliberately exposed the left neck area in front of Qinling. Don't you want to take off my neck? Come on. This practice of showing her weakness in front of her opponent completely angered Qinling. If you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. She measured Liangyu's speed and made a judgment in her heart. Even if Liangyu's knife is faster, it can't be faster than her. There are huge loopholes in Ai, and the risk factor of using it is very high. In ancient times, Huashu State did not have a similar sword-drawing technique because the ancient standard swords could be easily drawn, and the main battle formations had to be held with both hands. Therefore, the main purpose of Ai is to attack by surprise. Once the long sword cannot be drawn out of the sheath, the power will be removed, and it will reveal a huge flaw. Qinling's eyes flashed with a playful look. I'll give you this chance, lose. The next moment, her figure disappeared again, and a silver thread passed through the air, leaving traces of light and shadow behind her. Because of its speed, it was difficult to catch up. In less than 0.1 seconds, she had killed Liangyu's side, aiming directly at the half of Liangyu's neck that was deliberately exposed. The bird's beak was sharp, and the blade was also pulled out of the sheath at the same time, and the bright knife light instantly illuminated the surroundings. Clang! The sound of metal collision rang out. The dragon's cry cut from the side of Qinling's head, and the fierce murderous aura made her feel cold all over. But at this critical moment, her body suddenly turned in the air and dodged Liangyu's thunderous attack. How could I be so stupid as to fight with you? Qinling sneered in her heart. She was unwilling to give Liangyu the slightest chance. Fight to the death. Ridiculous. The strong won a perfect victory. Liangyu's knife passed by Qinling's head and actually cut off a few feathers. The bright long knife was wrapped in blue air and was extremely sharp. However, Qinling, who had been prepared, hit it with both claws. Clang! With a sound, Longming was actually knocked out by Qinling. After the Ai failed, half of Liangyu's body was exposed in front of Qinling without any cover, especially her slender neck, which was the best place for Qinling to attack. At this time, Liangyu lost her knife and became a lamb to be slaughtered. Qinling opened her sharp beak, which was as sharp as a guillotine, and could cut Liangyu's head off her neck in one go.
Die.
Your head is the price Zhang Yi paid for his actions. Qinling launched a fatal attack. At this time, almost nothing could stop her from killing Liangyu. A martial arts master without a weapon is like a tiger without claws. But she didn't notice that there was no fear in Liangyu's eyes, but they became sharper and brighter. Even at the critical moment of life and death, she could still be extremely calm, because timidity would affect people's judgment. Facing Qinglan's attack, she raised her arm to block her neck as if she had expected it. Crack. A crisp breaking sound rang out, and Liang Yu's left arm was directly cut off. Her tempered body and strengthened physique helped her defend the vitals. Qinglan bit off her arm and was about to make a fatal blow to the disabled Liang Yu. But at this moment, a chill ran through her chest and abdomen. Puff. A sharp blade pierced through her back. The cold tip of the knife was exposed on her chest. Qinglan looked at the sharp blade in front of her chest in disbelief. The next moment, a huge force burst out from the blade, shattering her internal organs from the inside. Puff. Qinglan, the sky god of war in the northwest region, fell. In a brief moment, less than a second, her proud and ferocious smile remained on her face, but there was only confusion and fear in her eyes. Until she died, she didn't understand where the knife came from. Liang Yu, who was in the reinforcement system, did not have the ability similar to telekinesis. And the flying knife controlled by telekinesis alone could not pierce her body silently. But she would no longer have an answer, because when she fell to the ground, her internal organs had completely turned into a pool of minced meat, and her body returned to human form. She fell to the ground with this pop, like a pool of meat mud. Liang Yu's face was a little pale. One of her arms fell to the ground, and the other hand was tightly grasping something. Only by opening your eyes wide to see, you will find that it is a very thin silk thread, and the other end of the silk thread is connected to the handle of the long sword. Qinglan died because of her ignorance. There is a legendary realm in martial arts, flying sword. This is not an absurd rumor, because a true master of qi can control his own qi to affect objects. According to legend, the top martial artists can control swords with qi. This is incomparable to ordinary control of objects. With the means of qi zong, qi is an extension of the body. So controlling the sword with qi is like holding a sword in your hand, and the power of the moves does not decrease, but increases. How many masters throughout the ages have longed to reach this realm, but how many Tianjiao have never reached this realm in their entire lives? I can't control the sword with qi yet. Liang Yu pulled the silk thread in her hand hard, and Long Ming flew back to her hand from Qinglan's body. But I can still control the line with qi, and the sword with the line. Chapter 1209, Underground World. Liang Yu held the retracted dragon roar, and then cut off Qinglan's head with a knife. It seems that after spending a long time with Zhang Yi, her behavior habits have also been greatly influenced by Zhang Yi, and she has become more cautious when facing the enemy. After confirming that Qinglan was completely dead, she took a deep breath, and the intelligent system of the combat suit automatically repaired the gap and injected her with hemostatic drugs and plasma. Liang Yu picked up her broken arm, but her body was shaking because of the excitement between life and death. In order to kill her silently, Qinglan cut off all communication methods from the outside world, so now she can slowly recover from her injuries and absorb Qinglan's essence before leaving. Anyway, just follow Qinglan's script and push all the problems to the centipede. On the other side, the big chinchilla dug open the crater and opened a huge cave leading to the depths of the earth. Zhang Yi then realized that its big white claws were not for decoration. Although it was a little clumsy in battle, it was more powerful than an excavator when digging the ground. The four people followed the passage it opened up and chased it underground. The big chinchillas but was facing the four people, and it seemed to have endless energy. Li Changgong asked Zhang Yi curiously halfway, "Chaos, where did you get this pet? This guy is really good at digging the ground. It will be very convenient to let it lay the foundation for future projects." This sentence naturally has a teasing taste. Zhang Yi replied lightly, "I picked it up. After the end of the world, there are all kinds of mutated creatures. What kind of types are there?" Several people did not ask any more questions and followed the direction of the big chinchilla all the way. After about 20 minutes, a strange light suddenly appeared in front of everyone. Crash. The thick rock layer in front of them was chiseled open by the big chinchilla, and a huge hole appeared. The big chinchilla actually fell straight down. Zhang Yi was quick-witted and quickly went over to grab a layer of skin on its neck. The four of them passed through the cave and arrived here. After seeing what was in front of him clearly, Zhang Yi froze in place, his eyes wide open, and his mind went blank. Because he saw a wider world. He was suspended in midair, thousands of meters above the ground, and the space around him was so vast that he couldn't see where the end was. Although it was underground, it didn't seem dim. Instead, the rock layer above his head seemed to have some special minerals, filled with a layer of misty blue mist, spreading from left to right for an unknown number of kilometers. It was so beautiful that people forgot that this was underground in a trance. Instead, it looked like a clear sky in the Arctic with brilliant aurora. Zhang Yi originally thought that he had entered an underground cave, perhaps another hiding cave for the Centipede clan. But everything in front of him was obviously beyond everyone's imagination. The huge space was filled with a stream of purple light. Looking down, the entire land was covered with a black and purple crystal. That was not some kind of naturally formed ore, but a huge square array composed of regular polyhedral black and purple crystals. On the square array composed of black and purple crystals, purple lights flowed continuously along fixed grooves like electric currents. It was like some kind of mysterious formation. Even if you look at it from a height of several thousand meters, you will be deeply shocked by the hugeness of this black and purple square array. Roughly estimated, the ground area covered by this square array is probably millions of square meters. Zhang Yi was dumbfounded. Such a huge thing was obviously not formed naturally. It was even more impossible to be something made by mutant creatures. Because in just less than 2 years after the end of the world, it was impossible for some mutant creatures to have such a high level of civilization. Not to mention Zhang Yi, everyone else was also stunned, staring at everything under their feet like a wooden chicken. Circuit boards. Lu Kuoran suddenly said this sentence. It was this sentence that woke Zhang Yi up. He finally understood what that abrupt feeling was. The huge formation-like thing under his feet looked very much like a circuit board. It's just that he had never seen such a huge circuit board. And what does all this have to do with the Centipede tribe? Zhang Yi's head was still confused. At this moment, the big chinchilla in his hand suddenly twisted its body excitedly, and its furry big claws pointed to the far left front. Zhang Yi's eyes immediately looked over, and the intelligence system zoomed in on the things in that direction. Zhang Yi saw that in the center of this huge square array composed of black and purple crystals, there was actually a huge black and purple pyramid. The purple arcs of light like electric currents gathered from all directions and then rushed to the top of the pyramid. Finally, they gathered on a directional platform at the top of the pyramid. Zhang Yi's sharp eyes discovered that there was something else on the pyramid. "Keep zooming in," he shouted. The intelligence system continued to zoom in on everything in front of him, and he suddenly found that at the top of the pyramid, where the purple arcs of light gathered, there were actually 6 purple diamond-shaped crystals inserted. What is this? Where am I? Zhang Yi was extremely stunned. Such a bizarre scene was beyond his imagination. Yang Xinxin, Lu Karen, and others were also stunned. Is this a human underground fortification, or is there a more powerful civilization underground? Lu Karen muttered to himself. The huge black and purple square array in front of them, as far as it can be seen, is difficult to complete with human technological power. When everyone was still confused, Zhang Yi's voice suddenly rang in their ears. "Look, the king worm is there. It wants to climb up the pyramid." Zhang Yi woke everyone up, and they looked in the direction of the voice, and they saw the king worm. It had already climbed to the edge of the square array and ran straight to the pyramid in the center of the square array at a very fast speed. Zhang Yi thought to himself, is this the secret of its rapid growth? "Let's go, kill it," Li Changgong shouted. Although it is not clear what this strange place is at the moment, they must kill the king worm and completely solve the problem of the Yuanshe mine. But when the 4 people looked around, their eyes were all looking at the top of the black and purple pyramid. The king bug desperately tried to climb up, and it was probably targeting the 6 purple crystals. It was very likely that it was a good thing that could give the aliens great power. None of the people present were fools. Although they didn't say it, they would not let go of any good thing easily. Li Changgong was the first to attack, and 6 realms without distance, took the lead in pulling away and went straight to the king bug. Zhang Yi was not in a hurry to attack, as he never liked to be the first to try something new. Moreover, this place gave him a weird feeling everywhere. This huge pyramid looked so perfect it was definitely not a lost relic. Does it have any guardians? Chapter 12 10 Guardian. The sudden appearance of the huge underground world, as well as the huge black and purple crystal array and pyramid, brought several people an unimaginable shock. Is this an ancient relic or a mysterious device built by an underground civilization? Zhang Yi had no time to think, and the other 3 had already chased after the king insect. Zhang Yi didn't care at all. Anyway, as long as he was there, he would have a share in killing the king insect. As for the purple crystal on the pyramid, the big dragon cat pointed at it excitedly in Zhang Yi's hand, and his eyes were shining. Do you know that thing? Zhang Yi asked the big dragon cat in a low voice. The big dragon cat didn't understand Zhang Yi's words, but just looked at him eagerly, his eyes full of desire. Zhang Yi understood something in his heart at this time. Sure enough, is there something similar to the Star Island Fog Valley in the underground of Qinling? Thinking of this, Zhang Yi dared not act rashly. Li Changgong and the other 2 chased to the vicinity of the king insect. They were eager to kill this king insect and then explore everything in this mysterious array. But when the king insect approached the array, it suddenly flicked its tail and swam flexibly to another place. In front of Li Changgong and the other 2, something strange happened. A square array of huge black and purple regular polyhedrons suddenly surged up and down like waves. A white light slowly emerged from the polyhedrons. Those polyhedrons were like mirrors, and many huge white figures emerged from the mirrors. There were countless strange white creatures with cold human faces, but spider-like bodies. The faces of Li Changgong and the other 2 suddenly changed. Is this the guardian of the underground? They had no idea what they were facing, but at this time, the king insect had already swam quickly in other directions. Zhong Yu said coldly, "That guy, it deliberately led us here." While speaking, those huge white human-faced spiders had already walked out of the polyhedrons. They were about 20 meters tall, with bodies like spiders, but the length of their 8 legs was much higher than that of spiders. Rather than spiders, they were more like a group of huge, white stick insects. But compared to the centipedes, they look sacred and cold, and this feeling, accompanied by the human faces on their heads, makes people feel cruel from the bottom of their hearts. Ka-la-la-dash. The human-faced spider in the front slowly opened its jaws, and its mouth opened to at least 140 degrees, and then a purple energy cannon was aimed at Li Changgong in the front and shot it. Li Changgong's face sank, and he immediately swung out with a knife, and the energy cannon was split into 2 without any suspense. But the energy that escaped directly shattered the earthquake. Zhong Yu and Han Shanzu's faces became extremely ugly. Just the power of this attack, the ability index of this human-faced spider will not be less than 9,500 points. And if their bodies have the strength of centipedes, their real combat power can reach at least 9,700 points. But how many of these creatures are there? In the square array of millions of square meters in front of them, these huge human-faced spiders appeared expressionlessly one after another, forming a terrible white wave. Looking around, there are tens of thousands of them. Even an Epsilon-level alien would be exhausted to death when facing such a large number of high-level Delta-level monsters. Now the 3 finally understood why the king worm led them to this place. Its purpose was to use the human-faced spider to eliminate the 4 human Epsilons. By the time the 3 came to their senses, the king worm had already run away, and the awakened human-faced spider guards naturally aimed at the 3 people in front of them. There was no expression on their cold faces, but they just pounced on them very directly. Zhang Yi didn't rush to chase after it. He was always cautious and guessed that something was wrong. Sure enough, the sudden appearance of a huge group of human-faced spiders confirmed his guess. For a while, Zhang Yi was in a dilemma. The The current situation was completely chaotic. Originally, they came to chase the centipede kingworm, but now they found that there was such a huge secret deeper underground. What should he do? Looking down from above, he could see the fleeing kingworm. It swam quickly on the ground, making excited crunching sounds from its mouth, as if mocking. Zhongyu, Han Shanzhua, and the other two were already trapped in the wave of human-faced spiders, and there was no way to get out. When they fought with these guys, they suddenly found that their pure white shells were harder than the centipedes. Li Changgong was still okay, using his "I am the will of heaven" to break the shells of human-faced spiders. But when Han Shanzhua and Zhongyu faced them, they actually had to spend a certain amount of strength to kill them. It was impossible to crush them to death as easily as erasing the centipedes. The three of them were in a bitter battle, and at this time they found that Zhang Yi was still standing in the sky, with no intention of coming down to help. Li Changgong angrily shouted at Zhang Yi in the communication channel, "Chaos, what are you watching up there? Come and help us. Take us away from here." Zhang Yi turned a deaf ear to Li Changgong's words. He looked down at the vast area below. Although it was underground, it was not dark. There were no sun, moon, or stars. The rock wall above his head was like a huge dome, lingering with a mysterious purple glow. It was as indifferent as the light scattered on the clouds in the sky under the setting sun. "You are not incapable of dealing with those guys, are you?" Zhang Yi said indifferently. "What should we do now? Something has happened to the mission. Should we leave or continue to fight? If we continue to fight, who should we fight?" Zhang Yi asked the question in his heart. The king insect had already escaped, but Zhang Yi could chase it. But in the current complex situation, they must figure out what the first priority is. Is it really the most important thing to eliminate the centipede tribe? Zhongyu immediately said, "The king insect must be killed. Otherwise, we will completely lose the Yuanshi mine." "I understand," Zhang Yi said. He opened the dimensional door and dived down. As he approached quickly, the huge human-faced spider army on the ground also discovered him, and suddenly hundreds of centipedes raised their heads and fired purple energy cannons. Zhang Yi completely absorbed the attack while facing the dimensional gates. These tens of thousands of human-faced spiders might be a huge trouble for others, but not for Zhang Yi. With his absolute defensive ability, it was easy for him to bully the weak. However, he was too lazy to break the hard shell of these things. There were too many of them, and killing one or two would not make much sense. Thanks for staying tuned. Enjoy the video. Please subscribe if not already.